There's a new warning from Iran to the United States: don't mess with the nuclear deal. US President-elect Donald Trump has vowed to make changes, and as you might guess, that's not sitting too well with Iran. President Hassan Rouhani says he won't let the US renege, and during a speech today at Tehran University, he told students there's no doubt America remains an enemy. Well, Reza Marashi is the research director for the National Iranian-American Council, and he joins us live now from CNN Washington. Reza, thanks very much for joining us on the programme today. This Iranian nuclear deal, can it be just tossed aside by Donald Trump?
Well, it's not outside the realm of possibility, but there are tremendous costs associated with the United States, Iran, or any other country that is a signatory to this deal just walking away from it or tearing it up. And frankly, that's not the most likely scenario if any particular country wanted to abandon the deal. There's a variety of other ways that it could be done over an extended period of time that would kind of lessen the geopolitical blow. But I think the important point here to point out is we've gone from a situation where 7 countries were extremely happy with the outcome of this diplomatic negotiation, produced the deal, and now, as a result of the U.S. presidential election, there's uncertainty again, and it doesn't have to be this way.
There's been some strong rhetoric so far from Hassan Rouhani, but what might be the practical implications of, say, a reneging on this deal? What might Iran do?
That's a great question, Hannah. We have to remember, all politics is local, and Iranian stakeholders really across the political spectrum, with the exception of their most extreme elements, lined up in support of this deal, not just because of the benefits that are accrued for the Iranian people over time, but also to reconnect politically and economically with the rest of the world. So the cost to Iran for walking away or reneging on the deal is the international community once again uniting and isolating Iran economically, politically. Iran certainly doesn't want that. So even if the United States were to take steps that would abrogate the agreement, it is in Iran's national interest to fall back, let its response carry out over time, to show the rest of the world that the problem is in Washington, not in Tehran.
Iran has always claimed its right to the production of uranium and the like. Can we see that maybe being on the rise as a result of Donald Trump's administration, and also a ban of inspectors, which was of such a key part of this deal in the first place?
Yeah, Hannah, that's another great question. I got to tell you, in my personal opinion, I think those are the kind of steps that Iran is less likely to take, because everybody in the international community, including the Russians and the Chinese, who America and Europe doesn't always get along with, they would view those steps as provocative. It's actually in Iran's interest, and it would be a savvier move, at least in my assessment, for Iran to take steps that are more medium to long term, like, for example, increasing its research and development on its nuclear program. Limitations that it agreed to on R&D, as it's called, could be slowly ramped up over time. And in doing so, it doesn't allow the United States and other countries to make the kind of pressing argument that Iran is dashing towards a nuclear weapon. And frankly, this is exactly the kind of scenario that is entirely avoidable if the incoming Trump administration just continues down the path that President Obama and the rest of the world has already charted down.
Donald Trump has always said that he wants to put America first. That's going to be the heart of his administration. But I'm wondering what it means to America's standing on the world stage if it starts pulling out of these deals. Does it weaken America's position when it comes to negotiating any future deals?
I cannot emphasize this point enough, that there are serious questions, not just as a result of potentially walking back from the Iran deal, but also TPP and other international negotiations that have proven to be unsuccessful. From America's side, there's serious questions regarding America's ability to implement and sustain complex diplomatic agreements, and that is absolutely not in the interest of the United States. American credibility is at stake. Oftentimes you hear stakeholders in Washington, D.C. talking about, well, if we're not tough enough, if we're not strong enough militarily, that weakens American credibility. I beg to differ. If America cannot fulfill the commitments that it's made when it signs on the dotted line for diplomatic, peaceful agreements, that more than anything else is what weakens and erodes American credibility.
So interesting to talk to you. Thank you so much for being on Connect the World, Reza Marashi. We appreciate it.
Thank you.